And we're back. Welcome. This is the Castoff, and we're going through the first Hardpoint cast from each contestant. We're going into our third contestant. Now it is Fox the Don coming in. Fox, heavy fan favorite. He was trending worldwide after we had his submission video shown. Everyone wanted him to get the fan vote. He got into the finals and blown away by this guy's just confidence. He was ready to just take on this role and get into the cast. We heard from him on his day one in his early day two experience, but here's how he's feeling before his main stage matchup.
All right, got the word that I'm supposed to be casting Team Caliber versus Optic right now on the Alpha channel. So this is my first appearance on the Alpha channel. Kind of a really exciting moment. I actually didn't expect to be on Alpha at all this weekend. I was told specifically that I was not going to be on Alpha, and now I'm on Alpha casting one of the biggest organizations versus Team Caliber. So definitely high pressure situation, but I'm mostly just feeling really excited about it. I think that this is a great, sort of an honor that they would trust me to be on Alpha with, such a high-profile team.
Welcome back to the North American Championship 2015, presented by Xbox. I'm Benson, joined by the wonderful Fox the Don.
Hello, Benson.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great
today.
Thanks, you too, as always.
I appreciate it.
I'm sure you needed to hear that, right, from me? Awesome.
I appreciate it. Brownie points early on. That's how you do it, contestants. Of course, if you haven't seen Fox Don before, he's one of our contestants in the Castoff. Of course, top 4 flown out here to the North American Championship. How have you found your experience so far?
It's been amazing. MLG's been great and very helpful and walked me through everything, every step of the way. I learned a lot being around a lot of the casters. Benson, glad to have him with me. He's been probably the most helpful the entire weekend.
Oh, thank you. Brownie points again. You're doing well. You're doing well now.
Oh, so now I got to knock you down, right?
Yeah, probably that would help. Of course, the game up next is going to be Optic Gaming versus Team Caliber.
But I guess we're getting into Optic Gaming up next, huh? I want to talk about Optic Gaming a bit. They're early on in this series. They had a pretty good advantage. These first two maps, Biolab Hardpoint, they are 9-2 versus TK being 2-9, which is ridiculous. But let's talk about Crimsix here. Crimsix, I actually had a chance to talk to him. I was asking him, are we going to see some weirdo plays? Are we going to see some NA45 stuff going on? He's like, no, man, because if we use it, everybody else will. So Crimsix really feeling himself right now. Formal, 1.14 KD. Not surprised one bit to see that. Him and Scump have just been on point with their slaying all season long and at playoffs. Nade Shot, known as the S&D God, and he's just everybody's favorite gamer. I'm pretty sure you guys didn't need to hear that. We all know it. We all know and love Nade Shot. He's a great guy. 23.36 for that Slayer stat. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive for sure. Now we're going to move on to Scump, the king himself. 1.24 respawn KD. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing him go off on Solar. He's a 1.85 KD on Solar S&D. That's pretty huge.
That's very impressive, that's for sure. Of course, it's up the gaming squad right now, known as the best team in the game.
You're right, that 30.26 Slayer stat right next to Crimsix, who's at 31.61. Looney was really impressing me on Ascend CTF. He really was. Just seeing him perform has just been great. 1.08 KD. Looney, definitely a phenomenal player, just like Crimsix, as we just got done talking about him.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Every game we've seen on Alpha, there's been a 3-0.
Yeah.
3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0.
Every time. Ridiculous.
The last time these two teams have met up against each other online, it's gone Game 5. Give me your prediction.
As I said, I really don't see TK taking these first two maps from Optic. It's TK, their Biolab HP is actually their worst, whereas Optic is 9-2. Solar S&D. Optic is undefeated. It's just working against them right now, but I do want to see this go past, a 3-0. We need to see that. TK's a great team. I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see what happens, Looking pretty normal here. 2 ARs, 2 submachine guns on both squads right now, actually. We're seeing Scump coming into circle here alongside Formal, I believe. 2 people in the hill right now. Scump and Crimsix are actually in the hard point right now. Players pushing in from ice. 3 dead for Optic Gaming right off the bat. Yeah, and you see we're seeing a player inside of that blue window. It is Nade Shot. I would actually like to see Formal in there. If you try and force that spawn towards green, Formal has a nice little window head glitch that he can shoot through there, but we're not seeing them utilize that. We got 4 TK players surrounding this hard point as Optic is spawning around Hut and Purple. Look at this, all 4 Optic players on streaks right now. We're seeing Nade Shot on a 4-kill streak, 5 as soon as he goes down, and that's ridiculous. TK started off so strong, and now Optic is just on a hot streak, all 4 players.
31, Optic Gaming in full control of this game. Theory, though, with a nice 2-piece to hold the hill.
Absolutely. I'm liking the, I'm seeing the classes on TK side here. I see a lot of overclock, stuns. We have only 1 player running trophy. On a hard point like this, where it's really easy to nade anyone whenever, I'd like to see maybe some trophy going on.
Okay, maybe switch out some classes, put on some trophy, just help yourself out a little bit.
Who am I to question that he just 3-downed Optic?
TK is about to take the lead.
Well, we need to talk about his
Never mind.
Theory's 6-kill streak. But that's fine. A 6-kill streak? How much time did him and Goon just get in there? That's pretty impressive.
They got a lot of time.
Pretty great to see. Look at the score right now. They're catching up. They were down by about 20, 30 seconds. Now they're only a few seconds behind, and we're moving on to the green plat hardpoint. OG 3-downing TK right there. I saw Formal playing around the generator with the sub. We usually see Formal with an AR, but I think Biolab is one of those maps that really makes his AR players switch over to subs. I think we've seen Clayster specifically likes to run a bow on this map even then, but you'll see him switch out the sub on a map like this and Detroit.
Let me ask you this right now. Up to Gaming in control of this game, Fox. What do you need to see TK do a little bit differently in the second rotation of Hills?
I mean, up until now, there really wasn't a huge difference in the amount of captures that each player's had. You see, they're sort of picking it up now, but Optic the entire time. Formal was the only one that didn't have any captures. They all had about an even amount. I'd like to see TK just pushing these hills a bit more sharp, 9 and 16. Maybe there's just not enough one-on-one gunfights being won right now. And we saw in the very first hardpoint they were pushing very separate too.
Yes.
So that was a problem. Second
pushing as a team. And nope, Up to Gaming with the early control blue.
Last time it was Goonjar and Theory that were really giving them this whole hard point. I do know what you're talking about. Goonjar up in that corner, Theory sitting in both windows. Let's see if they can do it again. They're at the top of their scoreboards. They're doing something right this whole match.
Very true. Scumpy 5 kills away from his 40th.
This is going to be really tough for them to come back on these last 2 hard points. They need to get a lot of time on this one because for the last one, they are not holding that whole thing. Theory, 3 kills right there. Pretty impressive for a 5-kill streak.
Looking for more. He's going to drop though, and I mean they're probably going to close this out at 250 on that final hill. We'll see though. Yeah.
Speaking of team houses, both Sharp, Goon, and Theory have been together on TK since its inception, not since its inception, but for most of the time since it started in Black Ops 2. So it's pretty great chemistry between those 3 players. Both teams are in team houses. They have practice all the time together on land if they want to.
Sharp, such a OG of TK, if you will. You know, he's one of the original.
For sure.
Of course, as you mentioned, everyone else kind of spent some time elsewhere, but ultimately ending back on this Team Caliber lineup. Crim6, look, it's better maps in Hardpoint, and you saw exactly why right there.
Oh, absolutely ridiculous. Scump with those 45 kills. He got the nice 2-piece at the end to get him from 43. It's not really new to see Scump go off like this. It's kind of expected,
It is at this point, right?
And if he messes up one game, you're like, he's got the next map. That's fine.
You don't need to worry about it. So, Optic Gaming go 1-0 up in the series against Team Caliber.
Yeah.
Are we going to see another 3-0?
I hope not. There's been too many of those. I want to see who got those 10 captures. Crim6 to the 10 captures. Did not expect to see that with Nate shot on Hardpoint so often. It's pretty weird to see him only 3 caps, 2 defense.
Well, Optic Gaming 1-0 up in the series. Coming up next, we have a Search and Destroy solo between TK and Optic Gaming.
Well, I'll kick things off.
Do it.
First thing I want to start on board with is, he had great camera presence. I thought once you came right on camera, seemed extremely relaxed. He seemed like an equal, like he wasn't scared to be on the alpha stage whatsoever. Crim feeling himself okay. I mean, I guess just putting his own kind of flavor in it. I'm all right with that.
Feeling himself, man.
Yeah.
On main stage.
Doing it underneath the desk right now. Continue. I'm not.
I was going to go somewhere.
Hands above the desk at all times, people.
My mind was just going to go. Oh, that was crazy. Key player matchups. He was pretty good with that. Read them down. Really talked a lot about that. At the start of the game, was not talking about the player on the screen. Did it a few times. Notice that. He would always talk about players off the screen. You got to, even if you want to talk about somebody off screen, you kind of have to talk about what's on the screen first, and then say, "Oh, by the way, on the mini map." Even if it's not the person that you think is on the mini map, just kind of point it out. A lot of stats. I feel like a stats overload. A lot of kind of facts. Just some stuff I didn't feel like he answered your questions. Really, it was just kind of you would say something to kind of set it up, and then
there was like
that
happened. I'll get to that.
Yeah, and then other facts coming out, but flipping through the classes. Good job with the game knowledge. Thought he did a very nice job in that stuff.
All right, I got a half page of notes here on our contestants so far. Fox, I kept it pretty simple. Was able to just kind of put it all in categories. I was able to kind of put it in buckets. On camera presence, phenomenal. So confident. He crushed through those team cards with that small hiccup. Not always the most accurate stuff, but if you were just a new viewer kind of listening in, he kind of went from player to player very smoothly. Feeling himself is not it wasn't the first time that he said it throughout the weekend. In fact, I got tweets about it nonstop, and after watching the videos today, feeling himself is Dirk's right now, or Gizmo's right now. He just kind of goes to that when he doesn't have anything else to say. Handled the player intros really well was a note here. Could have probably provided a little bit more information on the classes, and when he was providing too much suggestions on what the player should be doing, I like how he kind of caught himself. He's like, but who am I to tell them what to do? They just got 4 down on Optic Gaming. So he was annoying me at first by telling me where Formal should be standing. He's like, Optic, they know where to put Formal. He's going to be able to do that. I understood why he was trying to do that so that he could explain that there's a hole there. But there's just certain times to talk about that stuff. That was not a moment. That hard point is always going to be so heavily contested. You need to be on the kill feed there, not talking about strategy, unless it's a huge flank or someone spawning them out. That is going to change the tide of the game. Last one there, it was just kind of his confidence. He was just confident through and through. His voice was pretty on point, but I want to know, what was it like casting with him?
So I'm immediately going to disagree with something you said about the player cards. When we were up in the booth, he was so tempted. He was so trying to get the point across about the maps. You heard him say actually 3 times in that intro. He was like, let me talk about the 902. Let me talk about how Optic Gaming never lost Search and Destroy. Yes, that's very relevant, but there's a time for that. The first player card completely was ignored, and I was like, look at the play card. You're good. Don't worry about it. But he kind of recovered about it a little bit, but that's where kind of listening to your director is so key, because as we kind of touched on earlier on, we didn't really tell them exactly what was going to happen. We just let Brian, the director of the show, do it. So listening to the director is probably the most important thing.
I mean, I listen to Brian even if I think Brian's wrong. I'm just
you just have to do it. You just have to, whatever he says, you have to do it.
That graphic will be there regardless of my decision.
It's like, well, take a look at the graphic. You just have to hang there and pray it comes up. And, Brian never disappoints.
Usually hits the right button, it comes up.
Great additional stats. I love that, personally. He added to what was already on the screen, and he explained why they were relevant, which was key for me. He was really good at looking at his own Xbox. You saw that straight away, talking about trophy, talking about all different stuff.
Almost me, too much, where Matt was kind of calling it out that he was focusing on players that weren't on program.
Bear in mind, you only saw his side of the casting in that, so yes, it's going to see an overload of that, but casting with him, I can definitely tell you it was a good amount. Good knowledge of power positions, explains his analysis well, which is key. And he had knowledge of the metagame. Bad thing, he tended to stutter a little bit. I think that may have been nerves. I'm not too sure about that one.
It was kind of stuttering and rambling kind of happened with him. When you watch him get uncomfortable, he'll just try and save himself by talking for another 15 seconds instead of just handing it off.
Yeah, just let it go. And the point that you were bringing up about the questions, I asked, so what did TK need to do better?
He talked about
going into the second rotation. He goes, all right, so Optic Gaming, look at the cap column. He's like 6, 2, 2, and 2. Now, I kind of understood where he was going with that in terms of, pressure. You need to get more defensive your TK. You can't allow Optic Gaming to push it. But he didn't explain that. So to the casual viewer, I feel like that's a very confusing statement. Like, what did TK need to do better? Well, you can see Optic Gaming there with 6 caps, 2 caps, and 2 caps. And then that was where he was left. And it was like,
yeah.
Why does that matter in the game? Like, tell me why.
Right, I want the explanation behind it. And that's the thing, like, he definitely has that knowledge. He has that knowledge.
He does.
One of the smartest casters that we saw all weekend in terms of knowing the game. But you want to see him explain that in a way which the audience will understand. Because I could see him in his mind, he was like, that's the point. Nailed it, check. And, like, in his mind, he knew what he was saying. But to my mind, I kind of sat there, I was like...
I'm confused.
Because I'm obviously trying to drive, I'm doing play-by-play, and I'm thinking, huh. And I was like, oh, that's what you meant. But by that time, we've moved on, and it's kind of irrelevant to get back to it. That was just my thoughts casting.
The very end, talking about the team houses, I was just like, you're just throwing in random facts. I don't understand why this is coming up right now with the final 20 seconds.
Talk about that at the start of the game, right?
Well, yeah.
If anything.
In between. The map was already done at that point, so I guess they were just kind of... I've been in that situation. How much can you talk about a 40 bomb? Or how much can you talk about that 50 bomb?
40 bomb. Another 40 bomb.
It's really difficult when you get in that situation, but that's when you got to kind of reflect and talk about the big moments earlier in the match. But overall, I honestly think this was the strongest cast I've heard out of the 3 so far.
I would agree.
Yeah,
I would
definitely.
agree. For me, casting with him, it felt good. It was like casting with either of you two. Bar a couple of moments where it was like, what did you just say?
I make you do that all the time. Guys, we're going to commercial break. When we come back, we have our final contestant. This is going to be Chance with his vlog, as well as the Hardpoint cast with me on Alpha.